Hello, bookworms. Today we're here with our next book club.
Our February book club.
Yeah. I'm getting tripped up because we haven't done book club in a couple of months.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last one that we did was Wind Witch in January, and Caraval was our February book, but it is clearly now April, so we're very sorry.
We had the best intentions.
We really did. And we tried. There were so many times where we were like, we're going to do it today. And then things just kept happening. So, but we're glad that we're here and that we are going to do it because we both love this book. So
really doing it.
Yeah. And we're skipping a March book, but we will tell you what our April pick is at the end of the month because we already know what it's going to be.
And we know May, but we're not going to tell you that.
Yeah. Although you'll probably be able to
probably guess it.
Pretty obvious. Okay, so Cassie, do you want to say hi and tell us what you're drinking and what you're currently reading?
Yes, hi. I splurged a little bit this month. I usually spend $5 to $8 on my wine, and this time I spent $18 because it is the most beautiful wine bottle I've ever seen. It's called Côte de Roses. It's a nice rosé. The bottom actually looks like a rose, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
It's got rose gold stuff on it, and even the stopper is glass, which I think is pretty crazy. Also, she's hiding, but someone requested we bring Ginny the kitten back. So maybe she'll come out later. She's in her cat house, but I brought some Moscato for her.
Oh, that's so cute.
Little cat wine. We tried to give our other cat Jameson. What was it? Pinot Meow, but she didn't like it. So maybe they'll like the white. So we'll see. As for what I'm currently reading, I am deep into The Dream Thieves, which Kristen has been begging me to read for, 2 years now. So I'm finally on book 2. I probably would be done, but I spent the entire weekend rereading A Court of Mist and Fury, and that was just my Saturday. So, but now that beautifulness is over, I'm back to The Dream Thieves.
Nice. And you said that Ronan is becoming your favorite character?
Yes, Ronan's becoming my favorite. Sorry, Adam. I don't like you in this book.
I knew it.
I was like, I don't know why Kristen's wrong. I didn't love him in the first book, but no, you're right. I don't know why I doubted you.
I don't know either. And now you'll know in the future not to do that.
I don't know why I keep doing that. You're always right.
So I am also drinking a rosé because I was very jealous of Cassie's bottle of wine, and my liquor store had nothing that was anywhere near as pretty. But I'm drinking Cloud Chaser, which I thought was an appropriate name for Caraval. And it looks like it's from France, and it's also a rosé because we're finally in the rosé season.
Ooh, mine's also from France.
Sure. Awesome.
French rosé.
And I am currently reading Given to the Sea by Mindy McGinnis. It's honestly a little bit weird so far. I've had a bit of
weird
getting into it, but I think it's hitting its stride for me. So I'll hopefully end up loving it.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so do you want to give a synopsis of the book?
Did I do that last time?
Oh, does that mean it's my turn?
Yes.
So here's the synopsis for a book that I read.
We read this in February.
Yeah. Okay, so Caraval is about 2 sisters named Scarlett and Tella. They're living on this island, and they grew up hearing stories about Caraval, which is this elusive traveling performance show. It's very immersive. You can only go if you're invited and you have a ticket. Scarlett has been writing to Legend, who is the master of the games, for years in the hopes of getting an invitation, but he never complies to her request until right now. He sends her 2 tickets. No, he sends her 3 tickets, one for her sister, and one for her fiance. So the book begins with the girls figuring out how they're going to escape and get to Caraval. Tella is much more interested in going and attending the games. Scarlett is a rule follower, and she doesn't really think that she can defy her father, and she's worried about getting married and everything. But through a series of events, they end up at Caraval, and then they also end up being the focus of the game. Tella gets kidnapped, and Scarlet has to spend the game like trying to find her before she is killed or something horrible happens. And it ends up being like really immersive. The writing is beautiful, and it is quite a story.
You remembered so much.
I feel like I didn't, but I was trying to like, I don't know, whatever. I'm glad it worked. Okay, so in the promotional materials, Caraval was like repeatedly compared to the Night Circus. Do you think that that was an accurate comparison, or do you think that it was more like something else?
Ooh, see, the problem with that comparison is I went in thinking it was like going to be circus themed, and it wasn't really that circus themed at all. Oh man, she loves this cat wine. Wait, I have to show you real quick. Jenny, drink your cat wine. Yeah. Drinking that kitty wine. Okay.
She looks very happy.
She like just, she's freaking out. Like face deep in it, just drinking that cat wine.
I feel like we've got a very compatible cat. I wonder if she'll like Pretty Little Liars as much as possible.
Whoa, she's like rolling in it. Oh, that's water. Oh no. Oh god, this is horrible. I think there's catnip in it or something. She's like, oh, there's, oh god. Yep, there's catnip in it. She's trying to roll into the, okay, we're gonna move that over here. So I think that the problem with that comparison is I went in expecting this circus type environment, and it was not a circus type environment at all. But with that said, I do see like that fantasy element, like that high fantasy, like improbability thing kind of coming in. Like, oh, you get a wish. Like it's set in some realistic world, but magic is real. So that I can see being compatible.
Yeah, I agree. I like they kept saying, did they say that it was just like similar to the Night Circus, or were they saying like Night Circus retelling? I can't remember now.
I want to say it was more like for fans of the Night Circus, or, you know, evocative of the Night Circus was kind of like the language.
Yeah. Okay. So like, I think that the atmosphere of like the show is similar to the Night Circus because it is like a kind of mysterious show that's going on. The Night Circus, you know, you don't get an invitation to go, but if it shows up in your town, then you might be lucky enough to find it. Whereas Caraval, like you have to be invited to attend. So that was like a big difference, but it was totally different. Like I definitely thought that it was its own story. I didn't necessarily think that that it was an accurate comparison. They both have really pretty writing, and they're both very immersive. So I think that that was like the main reason, but they're two very different stories.
It's just a strange thing to do because Night Circus is an adult book. So you don't really see that very often, that crossover.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. The only reason I can think of is because it's published by Tor, which also does adult books. So maybe they were just, I don't know. Okay. So,
person who wrote that blurb, call us. Tell us your reason.
Let us know. How did you think the setting of an unknown fantasy world combined with the social mores of the 19th century worked out?
I just realized it was my question. I was like, ugh. Mm-hmm.
That was the first time.
I've never heard it before.
Well, you did write it like months ago.
I was like, man, this question is weird. Who wrote this one? I did. Yeah, no, I thought it was a very interesting interplay because you have this crazy fantasy game, but you also have like, oh no, I need to, you know, cover up all my parts, and I can't be seen alone in a bedroom with you. I'm not related to you. But at the same time, it's set in this like totally, it could have been on Jupiter and it wouldn't have been, you know, any different.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting how she did that because it definitely like all the magic and stuff makes it seem more like futuristic, but it was like all the values and stuff were really from like a long time ago, even with their father. Like he like acted like he owned Scarlet and Tella, which is kind of like a Victorian type like feeling toward women.
Yeah, she never met her fiance, and there was this like kind of marriage for political, you know, alliance thing happening.
Yeah.
You stop now that you're all high on catnip.
Now she's gonna be like running around like crazy.
She's all wet. She like got it all over the carpet and she's just like rolling in it. It's horrible. It's horrible. Oh God, you should stop. Keep going. Everything's fine.
Okay. If you were to score an invitation to Caraval, would you attend as a spectator or a participant?
Participant. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're gonna just go and like I don't know. You just wander around and watch, but not partake. That's just not as exciting to me.
That's funny because I would choose spectator.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a chicken and I don't want to like have someone like Tella gets kidnapped and then her life is at risk. I don't want someone that I care about to be potentially in danger and then have me be too scared to like enjoy the experience. I feel like I like reading books. I like seeing stories play out, and I think it would be more fun for me to like observe from the outside and like figure everything out, even if I could figure it out before the other characters, just to like see it like a live action thing play out, as opposed
You're going for like an immersive play sort of experience.
Like for instance, I loved Sleep No More in New York City, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be like in a high stakes kind of thing. That's just not for me.
I heard they were going to do that with the Goonies, but it never happened. Or maybe they're still working on it. I don't know.
That's so weird.
Yeah, Sleep No More, but with a Goonies setting.
Huh. Interesting. You went to the Alice one. That one I always wanted to go to.
No, I never went. I was supposed to. I went to a haunted house that was kind of similar with an Alice theme.
Okay.
It was not nearly as immersive as Sleep No More.
Interesting. I know someone else that went and they really liked it. Looked cool. If you could have one magical item or make one of the deals offered to Scarlet in Caraval, which one would you take or pick?
Ooh. Wasn't... remembering things. Give me some examples.
I know, this is why I send you questions in advance, but I just finished the questions like 2 minutes ago.
I was going to say, in my expense.
Okay, so for me, if I could have one thing from the game, I would definitely want Scarlet's dress that constantly like changes the way that it looks. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, no, that's the only one I could think of now. The only downside to that is when she was sad, everyone like totally knew what was happening.
That's true. But like for the deals, there was the deal where I forget what it was that she could get, but if she gave her voice, she could get something, and then there was...
I think that was if she skipped ahead to her sister, like, without having to go through the rest of it. And she's like, yeah, no.
And then there was the deal that she actually took, that took 2 days off of her life.
That's a bad deal.
You didn't realize that they were going to be immediate and not at the end of her life.
Yeah, or you just live 2 days less. That's not a big deal.
I thought that was a terrible choice.
Yeah, for dresses, like come on. You had a dress that changed shape and pattern.
How did you find the pacing of Caraval?
I really liked it. I actually read the most of this book on a plane, so you're kind of stuck. But I still found myself like wanting to keep going, like even during the slower parts. Like it had some nice romantic stuff, and then it had some nice, oh no, we're figuring out mysteries. I'm dying. Are you evil? I just thought it was a good. It just it was paced nicely. Stop.
I agree. I think that a lot of times when books like Caraval come out and they are so beautifully written, sometimes like that can mean that they usually have a slower pace because it's like the writing that you're falling in love with. And while that did happen, I didn't feel like I was ever bored during it. Especially just like once they got to Caraval, I was so interested in everything that was happening. I never thought like this is boring. I was really excited and trying to figure out like what the heck was going on. Do you wish that Scarlet was a more reliable narrator?
I always liked an unreliable narrator because then it makes the book a little more exciting. To me, personally, I know a lot of people don't, but there's just that extra layer of intrigue then when you have an unreliable narrator. I don't want it all the time, but I think it worked here.
I think so too. I normally don't love unreliable narrators, but I thought that it really worked well with Scarlett, and I liked that we had her to try to like figure out the games along with, since everyone else that was there was familiar with it already. So I think that it made the story like more accessible. What was your favorite relationship dynamic in the story?
I gotta go. What was his name?
Julian?
Julian. I liked him from the start. I didn't trust him, but I was like, this is gonna be some good stuff. I really wanted more of the sister stuff, but I don't think we got it. So maybe book 2 I'll change my mind, but
I really liked the sister relationship. I thought that like while Tella wasn't there for a lot of the book, you still got a sense of like how close these girls were, and Scarlett was just constantly trying to protect her, and like even in the beginning of the book, like the way that the dad would manipulate them.
that seems horrible. No, I did it. No, I did it.
Yeah. Like you could just tell how much they love each other and they were there for each other, and I thought that was really nice. Are you more of a Scarlett or a Donatella?
I try to be more of a Tella, but I'm deep down a little bit of a Scarlett, unfortunately. I'm a little more cautious with my decision making, but you know, sometimes you want to be a throw caution to the wind type of gal.
Yeah. I wish I could be a Tella, but I am 100% a Scarlett. I definitely like do what she does, where she sets all these boundaries for herself, that it's like really she's the only person that's in her way of like doing certain things. But it just seems like safer or easier or whatever.
And then there was that time you were gonna marry that guy you'd never met, and you'd just been talking to him through letters. Remember that? That was wild.
Yeah. That was a strange time.
It was a strange time in your life. Your parents just made that marriage for you. It was really
weird. Did you trust Scarlett's fiance or her fake fiance?
No. I was like, none of these really, come on. I was like, none of these guys can be trusted. I had a feeling the love interest would turn out to be okay, because this is YA and it's not like, you know, I knew that she'd get a happily ever after, but I was like, there's something too good about this letter writing fiance. I was like, there's a reason for him not, you know, his honeyed words were hiding something.
I agree. Like he seemed really nice and everything in the letters, but then like the fact that her father is the one that was pushing for this marriage and like arranged it was a major red flag. So I just did not trust him at all. Like I knew there had to be something going on there. And then with Julian, I loved him from the beginning. Like I really, really enjoyed his character, but I was convinced that he was Legend. So I didn't trust him at all. And I like, as much as he was helping her, I still just didn't trust him.
Like, why is he helping her?
Yeah. Like, what is his motivation in this? He was a really interesting character.
Yeah, I loved him.
What did you think of the governor? Did you think that he was a believable villain?
He was just, I don't know, so over the top to me. Like, yeah, maybe a believable fictional villain, not like a believable real life villain. He's just, the fact that he went there to like track her down, and I was like, oh no. I was convinced he was an illusion and not real. And then he turned out like he was actually invited and trying to hunt his daughters down. It was just, he was over the top for me.
Mm-hmm. He was interesting. He like, there was that one scene, I think it was him, right? He was like, she saw everything was like black and white, but then he was in color. Was that him?
No, that was the fiance.
That was, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did.
Like some part of his hat or something was in color.
Yeah. And that's how she like, yeah, she like pieced things together by that. But no, I didn't like the governor either. But I understood. I thought he was like a pretty good villain. It was very scary when he showed up.
That was when they found out he was real. I was like, no, I'd rather him be like a part of the game.
Yeah, me too.
Like, oh, your dad is here. Oh no, this is scariest character is the dad.
What were your thoughts on the actual like reveal of the relationship between Julian and Legend?
It was definitely a surprise. I don't know, the whole ending was so like good weird, like surprising weird. Like, oh, he was my pawn the whole time. Because my impression was these weren't real people who were in the game. They were kind of like, I don't know, like a hallucination or not robots, but you know, like they were just not real people. And then when he turned out, I was so convinced he was not going to be a real person and he was just like a figment of her imagination, and that would have been absolutely horrible.
Yeah, that would have been. I don't think I would have liked the book if that was the case.
Oh, remember that guy you fell in love with? He wasn't real. But then how would he have gotten them there in the first place? So I guess that's really, I don't know why my mind immediately went there. I was like, oh, he's not real. He's like a world robot.
I was really surprised because, like I just said before, like I really thought that Julian was Legend. And then like the whole, pretty much, I want to say it was like a quarter of the way through that I started thinking that, because I just like, I feel like that's a thing that would happen in a YA book. And I was just like, oh, I see what's going on here. I know all. And then I was wrong.
And then when they revealed that it, like she thought it was, were you like, oh no, I was wrong? Or were you like, yeah, vindicated?
Yeah. No, when she said that, I was like, oh. But I don't know, like I thought, I was glad that he didn't turn out to be him. But I was surprised that he was connected as much as he was, like to be Legend's brother. Because I assumed that everybody there, I didn't think that they were robots, but I thought that they were just like hired actors just playing their part in the game.
Not necessarily robots, but just some sort of not human thing. I don't know. I don't know what you would call that.
This isn't in the questions, but what did you think of Dante?
I liked him. He was like a little goth kid. But then the second she, you know, didn't want to hang out with him, he got really cold. I was like, nah, I'm done with you. I thought you were going to be fun, and I thought you'd be like, you know, a fun, flirty love interest, but no. Then she didn't pay attention to you, and you just turned into a jerk, so that's when I lost interest in him and didn't care that he died.
I was still, I mean, I was upset that he died, but I didn't like him from the beginning because I just was like skeptical of him, and I also already felt like my allegiance was with Julian. So I didn't really want her to like talk to anyone else.
You can have friends.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, what did you think of Scarlett and Tella's grandmother's like ties to the past Caraval, and did you think that that was like a necessary addition to the plot?
It seemed a little over the top. I feel like I'm saying that a lot. It just seemed a little over the top at times. They're like, oh, especially when they're like, oh, the whole point of this thing is to punish us for that time our grandmother broke this man's heart. Like, that seemed a little like, okay, dude, it's been how long? Get over it, sort of thing. But there were also times I was wondering if she had even been there, the way she was kind of talking about it. Also, if she did this horrible thing, why is she telling them magical stories about this place?
That's true.
That I found a little strange.
Yeah, I thought that was strange. Like, it was, I understand that her stories were kind of what made them feel like they wanted to like go and experience it for themselves. So it was like a good way to explain their interest in Caraval. But I thought that the love story was too like convenient. It seemed more like, it didn't seem like it had an actual like place in the story. It just seemed like a plot device to like tie everything together. It was weird. Who is your favorite character?
I like Julian, but I also liked that crazy girl who drew the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She was a lot of fun. Even though she, you know, inadvertently was the reason that 2 days were taken off Tella's life, or Scarlett's life. But yeah, she was like fun and quirky and sassy, and I liked her. She'd be my second favorite character, besides Julian.
Cool. My favorite was also Julian, but I really wanted my favorite to be Legend, because I just think like the whole mystery and everything surrounding him was so intriguing. I think just the way that he was written made me want to like love him more than I did, because we didn't really get a ton of time with him. And I think that if we had had more time with him, maybe I would have liked him more, although maybe that would have like ruined his air of mystery more. But he just seems really interesting, and like there's a lot.
He just showed up and explained like everything. He's like, "Hey, it's me, and here's why this is happening."
Yeah. But I liked him. I don't know. I want to know more about his relationship with Julian, and like about them being brothers and how they like just got involved in all of this together.
Yeah, I want to hear about his magic powers more.
Me too. Who was your least favorite?
The governor. The dad. The evil dad. It's got to be the evil dad.
Yeah, same.
He's not even like a fun villain. He's just like a horrible monster.
Yeah, he was like the horriblest person. The most horrible person.
Did the mom leave because of him? Or did he turn, I forget, or did he turn horrible after the mom left?
I think the mom left because of him.
Okay.
What did you think of like the big reveal at the end when you like found out what was actually going on? I know I was so stressed out like leading up to that point, because I was like, they keep telling me this is a game, but like this seems real, like some real things are happening.
Yeah, it really messed with my head. I was like, what? Like, are you all just lying? Like, who is telling the truth? How much of this is like, it was a mindfuck, I guess is the only way I could say that ending was. And even before that, they're tearing you in all these different directions, and I was just like, what is real? What is not real?
That's how I felt. I don't think I've ever been so like unsure of what an outcome was going to be in a book. I usually both of us, we read a ton of books, so it's usually pretty easy to pinpoint like what's going to happen and just the general like arcs of the way that stories play out. But with them, I was so like lost. I've never been like, I have literally no idea what's going to happen. So it was like really confusing, and I was like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. But I loved it. And it kept me going.
Love that slow spiral into insanity.
Yeah, it was so great.
Super comforting.
So actually in an interview, Stephanie Garber said that she didn't even know who to trust while she was writing the book. Do you think that came across as intentional in the story, or do you feel like that was like an accidental type thing? Did I phrase that well? I'm saying what I'm saying here is like, you know how when the creators of Lost wrote that show, they clearly had no idea what they were doing, and like it was very clear to the viewer.
Okay, your question is, did it feel like it was all planned out, or did it feel like they were just like, they threw a Gossip Girl and just didn't know what to do and just picked a character to be Gossip Girl? Yeah. Okay. Usually in, what is the book? There was a sequel I read where it felt like, the Match trilogy by Ali Kandi. In book 2, it felt like they were just like throwing out all these threads to like kind of tie to book 1, but it didn't feel organic at all. Whereas this, even if she didn't know where she was going with it, like I felt like she had a plan the whole time. Like at no point was I thrown out of the story because I thought she was just like Dan Humphrey's Gossip Girl.
Yes. I felt the same. I was shocked when I heard her say that she didn't even know who she could trust, because I was like, I never got that impression. Like I always thought like she had a clear plan. So it must have been exciting for her even to be writing it. And I think like the fact that she was able to make it so cohesive and make everything like fit together so well without having been sure while she was writing it just speaks to like what a great writer she really is.
Did she say if she went back to like fix up anything after she realized where she was going, or?
I think so.
Okay.
I think she actually had a different relationship dynamic for Scarlett and Tella, but then she decided to make them sisters. I think they might have been best friends, and then she like made them sisters or something. And so it was actually interesting. She said that what she did when she was writing is that she had an index card for each character, and on the index card she wrote what it was that the character wanted most, what they like, the lengths that they were willing to go to get it, and then she also gave each character a secret. And she used those as like her like building blocks while she was writing. She would reference those and be like write with their motivation in mind.
I really like that.
Yeah, like I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that she just did such a great job with it.
Is this her first book?
Yeah, this is her debut novel.
Crazy.
So she wrote 5 books before this.
Okay.
That are unpublished, but this is the first one that she's ever gotten published.
This is her successful NaNoWriMo.
Yeah. She said that she, like, while she was writing it, there were a lot of her friends and stuff that had read it and were like, oh, I don't think this will do well because like the whole circus thing is really over. And I'm so glad that they were wrong.
What is this circus thing over?
I don't know.
When did it start?
I
don't remember a booming circus point in time.
Yeah. But I thought it was so great. I can't imagine anyone. Well, actually, so there have been a lot of negative reviews.
I did see some of those on Goodreads, yeah.
It surprised me. I think like usually when there's a book that I love so much, it usually tends to be a little polarizing. But I like even the critical reviews that I've read, I just don't see what the negative reviewers are saying. I always think it's interesting to read negative reviews of something that I love because I'm like, maybe I missed something. But everything they point out, I'm like, oh, but I liked that.
Well, that was my favorite part. It's okay. Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion.
That's true. Did you have a favorite scene from the book?
Everything? I didn't like the girl who rode the unicycle. I thought that was stupid. There we go.
So I'm guessing that would be your least favorite.
That dumb unicycle girl. I just liked the whole magical, Oh, you know what I liked best? I know. When they go to that part and there's all those tents and she meets that guy and he's got all the tattoos and he can like tell, it's kind of like, he's not necessarily psychic, but he can tell based on like where her path is going, like her eyesight is going.
Yeah, that was cool. I think my favorite scene would have been with the drawings.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's like when she figured out a lot more of what was going on. I hate what she had to do to like get it.
Yeah.
But I think but just overall, yeah, it's really hard to pick a favorite scene because the whole novel is very immersive and it's really like the writing that keeps you into it. So it's not like specific things that are easy to point out because it's all just like,
yeah,
really good. And I don't think I had a least favorite scene. Maybe actually, if I had to pick a least favorite, it would be the beginning scene with the dad and Scarlett and Tella, just because it was like really hard to read.
Yeah, that was sad. And like, who does that to your own men? I don't get it.
That is the answer.
Do you get it? He doesn't get it either.
How many stars did you give Caraval, and would you recommend it to others?
Is this the last question?
No, there's one more.
Okay. I would like to divert real quickly. I don't know if this question's on here, but there's cat hair floating everywhere. I apologize. You can't see it because this camera is really shitty. It looks like I'm waving at nothing. Which reminds me real quick. So the whole time I was reading A Court of Mist and Fury, I must have counted like 8 times where they brushed invisible lint like off them or like picked invisible stuff. I was just dying by the end. I was like, how many times does this happen? How many times? How many times is Feyre gonna give someone an obscene gesture? How many times is someone gonna brush invisible lint off them? I'm being mean. I love that book.
It's a great book.
So we didn't really get a lot of world building outside of Caraval. I was just really curious how you felt about the structure of society outside of Caraval, and did you want more of that? That's my question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. I agree that there was like very little time that was spent in the real world. I thought that it was interesting because, like we said, it had like a lot of ties to like Victorian times. But I was also really curious whether that's just how it was like on that island, or if that's how it is like in the entire world around there, or like most of the world. So I would like to know more about that. But I definitely wouldn't have wanted to sacrifice any of our time at Caraval to learn more about it.
Okay, so here's my thought. I would have liked to know more, but I also don't think it was even necessary for the story. It was just kind of strange. Like, we live on an island that once seceded from all these other land masses, and here we are. And I'm like, well, maybe that'll come into play in the series in the future?
Maybe.
I don't know. It was just very strange. It could have just been like, we live in this place. The end.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a fantasy version of England, and I've always wanted to go to Caraval.
There might be some reason that she did it the way that she did that we just aren't privy to yet.
Because I was like, oh, is this like a secret dystopia or something? But it wasn't at all. And it never came back. And it had nothing to do with anything that happened in the story.
Yeah.
Okay, now to answer your question. I give Caraval 5 stars because it was so beautiful, and I kind of just fell into it for like 2 days and didn't want to leave. And I would recommend this to anyone who loves fantasy and anyone who kind of liked the Night Circus, even though they're not that comparative.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely 5 stars. If you enjoy beautiful writing, I would definitely suggest reading this. I would go in knowing that it is an unreliable narrator, because that can get frustrating for some people, but it works really well in the story. But yeah, I really loved it. Like, I definitely want to reread it. It was one of the last books that I read in 2016. But I feel like if I had read it this year, like it would make my list for like top books, like for sure.
And I wonder if a reread would like reveal maybe stuff we didn't notice before. So we're like too whodunit, plot focused, sort of, you know?
Yeah, I've been doing such a good job of rereading this year. I'm like so proud of myself. I think I like was trying to think of why, because in the past I'm like horrible at rereading. Unless it's Harry Potter, I just don't do it. And I'm wondering if the reason why I've been better about it this year is because it still counts toward your Goodreads goal.
Oh yeah, that's a really great new feature.
Yeah.
I like going back and seeing like my notes from what I thought the first time.
Me too. My guitar reread, like I read my review from the first time and I was like, whoa, this time it's so different. Okay, so the last question is, Stephanie Garber said that she's writing a companion or second book in the series to Caraval, but she really like has not given any information about it yet. She won't even tell us who's narrating it. The only thing that she said is that it's not Scarlet, it's a different perspective. So what are you, like, whose perspective are you hoping the story will be in? And is there any like specific question that you want answered in the second book?
Ooh. I'm thinking just based on the epilogue that it has to be Tella.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited about that because I feel like we got like a little monologue from her about why she did what she did. But I think she'd be a really fun character to kind of trail along and find out. And it seemed like they were opening up for like a love story for her, which I think would be cute.
It would be cute.
Yeah. And I want to know more about Legend. Like, what's his deal? What is he like? How big is his top hat? You know, stuff like that.
That's really what I want more than anything, like more information about him. If I had to guess, I would guess that it would be Tella's perspective, but I'm really curious whether it's going to be like the same story from Tella's perspective, or if it's going to...
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Because like, yeah, because she was really not like in Caraval that much besides the beginning and the end. But maybe it would work better if we had like a continuation story for her, and then she could do like some flashbacks to.
Okay. Yeah.
But I really would like to learn more about her, because she is, like, as much as I love Scarlet and as much as I identify with Scarlet, Tella is probably like a much more interesting.
Yeah, she would have gone crazy in Caraval, running around.
Yeah.
10 years of her life for, who knows what.
Yeah, jumping off ledges, like
eating all kinds of food.
Yeah.
In this book, I feel like this book was lacking in delicious sounding food. This is what I want out of my YA novels.
Yeah.
Pretty dresses and yummy food.
I felt like I was craving chocolate so much while I was reading this. Between like the descriptions of the chocolate, the roses, the champagne, I was just like, all right, yeah.
Champagne, I'd take all the champagne.
Yes. But yeah, so I think that like pretty much wraps up our thoughts about Caraval. And do you want to reveal what our April book pick is?
Yes. The title. Okay, so we don't have it yet because it's not out yet. Do you know the date it comes out?
April 11th.
There you go. So April 11th, Becky Albertalli's second book. So she wrote Simon and Hope Sami. Let me start over. She wrote Simon and the Hope Sami. Hope.
She wrote Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda.
There you go. So her next book is The Upside Down of Unrequited. And it's a contemporary, which we feel like we haven't done in a while. So we think that would be a nice change of pace because we've kind of been all fantasy all the time.
Yeah.
So that will be our April book.
Yes.
And hopefully we will discuss that in April.
It's The Upside of Unrequited.
Damn it. It's not upside down.
But it's actually set in the same world as Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, and it follows a set of twins that were friends with, I think, Abby before she moved to where Simon lives.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so it should be interesting. We're both really looking forward to it.
It's upside down.
Simon. That sounds like, I don't know, maybe you're thinking about Stranger Things.
Probably. I'm always thinking about Stranger Things.
Mm.
You know what? In my head, the title is like super long.
Yeah, it's like, it flows well, but it definitely is not like something that's easy to remember.
And you're like, tell everyone our next book. And I was like, damn it.
Sorry.
Of course. I don't even have it to look at.
I know.
It's okay.
It's a really pretty cover.
It is. And I'm sure it'll be super fun and I'll read it in like a day.
I think so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. But do you want to tell us where they can find you online before we say our goodbyes?
Yes. You can find me on the internet as Yurchmonger. That is YRCHMONGER. Nailed it. You can find me on Twitter, Goodreads, Instagram. I also have a book blog, which you should check out, bibliomantics.com. Andrew's still designing me a logo, which you'll see sometime.
He showed it to me the other day, and it looks really good.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
He emailed me a few weeks ago. I was like, did I ever send you that? And I was like, no. And then he's like, I'll get right on that.
I was giving you design input.
Oh, thank you. Where can the people on the internet find you besides here where they're watching this video?
Yeah, I'm here on this YouTube channel, and I also have a Bookstagram account under Super Space Chick and Twitter as Super Space Chick. Also on Goodreads, but I never look at messages there, so sorry if you've ever tried to contact me.
They're all from creepy dudes. Like 90% of my Goodreads messages are from creepy dudes.
That's honestly why I stopped looking at them, because I would look at the messages and be like, oh no. So I just stopped, and now I have like over 100. And now I'm like, there's just too many.
Can I go through them? I bet they'd be really interesting.
I don't know. I'm not interested. And is there any, oh yeah, and I also have a blog, which is superspacechick.com. And yeah, so we will be more communicative about when our April show will be, and it will hopefully be like at the end of April, and not a couple months later. And yeah, till then, just happy reading. Bye.
Bye.